Dear friends, welcome to this week's virtual Drasha. This week we have the incredible privilege of Parshas Titzaveh. And the Parsha continues in the beautiful journey of the Mishkan with a specific focus on the big Dikun of the Kohanic vestments. And in Perek Chav Ches, Pasuk Aleph, chapter 28, verse 1, the Torah says as follows: V'yata hakrei v'leches Aaron achicha v'esbanav ito mitoch b'nei Yisrael l'chahan oli. Kodesh Baruch Hu tells Moshe, I want you to induct Aaron and his sons into the kahuna. Bring them close to you to be my Kohanim. Aaron, Nadav, Avihu, Elazar, V'itamar b'nei Aaron. So Aaron and all of his sons, incredible. So this induction of Aaron and his sons into the kahuna is a dramatic step for Klal Yisrael. Moshe Rabbeinu has been the leader, and now Aaron is going to assume this incredibly important and spiritual role of spiritual leader of Klal Yisrael, Kohanic leader of Klal Yisrael. And of course, that responsibility, that mandate, that privilege will be passed from Aaron and his sons through future generations of Kohanim to this very day. Rameir Premishlan, the great tzaddik, asks an interesting question. He says, if you look at the lashon of the pasuk says, "Ata hakrev elecha es Aaron achicha." Moshe, bring Aaron close to you. What does that mean? The goal over here is Hashem says to Moshe, induct Aaron into the kuna, remove him from the ranks, the regular ranks of Klal Yisrael, and highlight him that he is destined for something greater. But why the lashon of Ata hakrev elecha? Bring Aaron close to you. And the great tzaddik Rameir Pramishlan says something so beautiful. He explains, Moshe Rabbeinu was a little bit more of a solitary figure. Hisbodedus means, right, the process of engaging in introspection and contemplation while being alone with oneself. Moshe Rabbeinu was a bit more of a reserved, withdrawn, and solitary figure. Umoshe yikach esa ohel v'natalo michutz lamachana, as is evidenced by the fact that Moshe Rabbeinu comes back from Har Sinai. Remember again, the Torah tells us that the light of HaKadosh Baruch Hu shone forth from his face. Moshe took his tent and he kind of set it up outside of the major camp of Klal Yisrael. The truth is, even earlier on, how we first introduced to Moshe Rabbeinu, again in his adult life, Moshe was a shepherd. A shepherd's life, interestingly enough, is a pretty solitary life, right? You're out in the field, you're out in the pastures with your sheep. It's just you, the sheep. We find this by a lot of our ancestors. Avinu was a shepherd. David HaMelech was a shepherd. Great people often prize the time of being alone with themselves, because when they're alone with themselves, they're able to contemplate, to introspect, and to be alone with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So the great tzaddik Rameir Pramishlan, the Rebbe says, Moshe Hayonota lehisbodedus. Moshe Rabbeinu himself was a person who was a more solitary figure. He goes on about Aaron. Now this stood in contradistinction to his brother Aaron. Aaron Aaron was not a solitary figure. Aaron was in the midst of it. Aaron was a person who prided himself on his interpersonal relationships, right? From Aaron HaKohen, the most important thing in life was to be to be with the people, to try to affect change within the people, to make shalom within the people. This was Aaron. And therefore the Rebbe says, Varmar Hashem l'Moshe. So it's fascinating, right? Two brothers, yet two dramatically different personalities. Aaron, like the Chevra man. Not saying Aaron's the life of the party, but Aaron's entire, like his entire mahos, his essence, like his gestalt, was that he was with people. Mu'uravim abrios. His job, his avoda, he felt, was in the realm of interpersonal conduct, bringing people together, making shalom, mending any different type of phrase. That was his avoda. Moshe, when you think about this even for just a moment, right? Moshe is known as Moshe Rabbeinu, as the teacher of Torah. But even though the truth is, the real way we think about Moshe Rabbeinu is Moshe Rabbeinu was the one who went up and brought down Torah. Moshe Rabbeinu was the one who spent a total of 120 days alone with HaKadosh Baruch Hu on the top of the mountain. That's Moshe. Moshe was the man who took his tent and put it outside of the mountain. Moshe Rabbeinu, if you think about it, we must imagine was like this revered figure who was like on a pedestal. And rightfully so. Aaron was also on a pedestal, but his pedestal was much lower down and kind of always surrounded by people. Two very different, two beautiful holy brothers with incredibly different personalities. So listen to what the Rebbe says. Hashem says to Moshe, Va'amar Hashem l'Moshe, sheyikrav el atzmo es midas Aaron. So Hashem says to Moshe something amazing. Moshe, you are great. You're fantastic. You're beautiful. Lo kam b'Yisrael ki Moshe od. There will never be another prophet like Moshe Rabbeinu. But Moshe, I need you to become more like your brother. By the way, those are the words that no parent, right, should ever say to one of their children. I need you to be more like your brother. I need you to behave better like your sister. Why can't you do as well in school like this one, like that one? Don't say that. But Hakadosh Baruch Hu, the Baruch Shalom is different. Because when Hakadosh Baruch Hu talks to his children, a child is always assured of the love of the parent. So Hashem says to Moshe, says Rameir Premishlan, Hashem says to Moshe, Moshe, you're fantastic, you're beautiful, you're hailing, you're amazing. But I need you to be more like Aaron. I need you to be more engaged with the people. I need you to create more relationships within the ranks of Klal Yisrael. I need you to become a little bit more like Aaron. Like the Mishnah says, Oev Shalom. Aaron, his whole avoda is he not only loved peace, Rodev Shalom, he ran after peace. Oev Esabrios, he loved people. Mekarvan Torah, Aaron was the Chevra man. He was the one within Klal Yisrael who brought together different factions, who brought together different camps. He was able to go ahead and somehow bridge the gaps, mend the differences. Moshe Rabbeinu was the Navi. Moshe Rabbeinu was Kodesh Kadoshim. Moshe Rabbeinu was on the mountain. Moshe Rabbeinu was outside of the camp. Moshe Rabbeinu, again, was revered almost as the model for what a human being could become. But now Hashem says to Moshe, Moshe, I love you. I need you to be a little bit more like your brother. Sheikariv al atzmo es midas Aaron, v'yiskariv el ha'am. I need you to become closer to the nation. I need you to become closer to the nation. I need you to become a bit more embedded in the people. I need you to get down from the pedestal a little bit. And I need you to become a little bit more Aaron-like in your approach. Hamani ka'am lo min amida hi sheyeh misboded. A leader cannot live outside of the camp. A leader cannot be aloof, and a leader cannot live his life on a pedestal. He has to walk down from the pedestal. He has to move his tent back into the camp, and he has to be involved with the everyday man. He has to be the Oev Shalom, the lover of peace, the Rodev Shalom, the pursuer of peace, Oev Sabrios, the person who is able to love and connect with every single person, and through that, Mekarvan the Torah affects spiritual change. Rameir Premishlan saying something absolutely amazing. The Ribono Shel Olam, while extolling the virtue and value of a Moshe Rabbeinu-like personality, says, gives Moshe a little bit of musar. This is not the leadership model Klal Yisrael needs. Klal Yisrael doesn't need a leader who is a bit into his bodedus, a bit more of a solitary figure. Doesn't need someone outside of the camp, but needs someone, Mu'urvim Arios, together. Moshe, you're fantastic, but I need you to be a bit more like Aaron. Overwhelmingly fascinating. And the Rebbe says that's the pshat in the pasuk. Kadosh Baruch Hu was not simply telling Moshe to choose Aaron for the kahuna. That's easy. Aaron, you're the kohen. Shkayach, Mazel Tov, that's it. There's something deeper. V'ata Moshe, now here's what I need you to do. Hakrev elecha es Aaron achicha. Bring the Aaron personality closer to you. Inculcate the midos of your brother into you. Not just choose him as the kohen. V'ata hakrev elecha. Bring Aaron and bring him close to you. Model yourself a little bit more in your image. Change your leadership model just a little bit. Pivot and try to become a bit more like your older brother. And Chevra, I think that this message is incredibly profound on a variety of levels. First of all, the idea of what Hakadosh Baruch Hu wants from a leader, that he doesn't want the leader to be aloof. He doesn't want the leader in an ivory tower. He doesn't want the leader on top of the mountain. He doesn't want the leader outside of the camp. He wants the leader to be besochami. He wants it to be in the people. That leadership means being involved with everyone. That leadership means finding love in your heart for everyone. That leadership means making shalom, trying to make shalom at least, with everyone. Leadership means taking an active role in the day-to-day affairs that govern people interpersonal relationships. Moshe, you're fantastic. And there'll never be another Navi, another prophet like you. But I need you to become a little bit more like your brother. Because what the Kadosh Baruch Hu values more than anything is our ability to be there for each other, is our ability to love one another, our ability to take care of each other. That's what it's all about. To be a prophet is fantastic, but the truth is no one's ever going to be a prophet like Moshe Rabbeinu. That was fantastic. And the truth is, To a very large degree, that was a status that was conferred upon Moshe by HaKadosh Baruch. Of course, Moshe Rabbeinu did the work to earn it. But there's nothing you could do to become a Navi like that. That has to be given to you, at least in part, by HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The avodah we have in this world is at the end of the day to become people who care about Klal Yisrael, to become people who care about each other, to become people who look out for one another. This is what HaKadosh Baruch Hu values us. Isn't this incredible? You think to yourself, Moshe Rabbeinu, for crying out loud, what do you want? I went up on the mountain, I got the Torah, I advocated for the Klal after the Chet Egel. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, yes, Shefla, it was fantastic, it's beautiful, but still, I need you to be a little bit more on the day-to-day. I need you to be a little bit more like Aaron. I'm sorry. I need you to be a little, I need you. Aaron is there. He's in the midst of the people. He's making shalom. He's making relationships. He's building bridges. That's what I need you to do. It's what I need you to do as a leader. And it's what I need every single Yid to do in their capacity as a Jew, in their capacity as a member of Am Yisrael. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, if you ask me, Bono Shalom, who do you want me to be more like? And this is an incredible thing to say. Do you want me to strive to be a Moshe? Or do you want me to strive to be an Aaron? The answer, says the Meir from the John, is simple. HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants us to be an Aaron. Oiv es habrios, mekarven Torah. Oiv shalom, rodev shalom. That's what HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants. And this is the tremendous theme, not just of this Parsha Zachar. I mention this every year. We read Parsha Zachar, we wonder to ourselves, what is it exactly that we are trying to remember? We're trying to remember that Amalek hates us? Okay, I don't think we need a reminder for that. Especially since October 7th, we recognize Amalek comes in many different shapes and forms, and the hatred and animosity for our people is still there. But I've often said that what I think we're supposed to remember by Parsha Zachar is that where did Amalek attack from? Amalek attacked from the back, calling Nechashalam. There were stragglers. There were people left behind. I was worrying about my own family and I forgot about the person over there. Because there are always people who lag behind. There are always people who are peripheralized and marginalized. And part of our memory of Parsha Zachar is, how did we leave people behind? How did we leave people behind? How could it be that as a community, we forget about people? We forget about demographics. We forget about certain individuals. There's always the in chevra. There's always the intact family. There's always the person who looks like you, who davens like you, who really... But then there's all these other people all around me. And the truth is, Amalek attacked us, not from the center, not from the core chevra. Amalek sensed that the community forgot about people. We forgot that we have to be like an Aaron. We forgot that we have to be oives habrios. And brios means everyone, to love and accept and include. And we forgot about that. And Amalek exploited that weakness. So Parsha Zachar reminds us, not that Amalek hates us. I know that Amalek hates us. I know that Amalek wants to destroy us, and we're going to destroy them first. That's what we're going to do. That's our avodah as a Yid. But I also remember that we forgot about certain people. That we forgot about the stragglers. That we forgot about those who lived on the margins and the periphery. We forgot to include them. Parsha Zachar reminds us to remember every single Yid. To become like an Aaron. To look out at how we could be more inclusive. How we could be more loving. How we could create greater bonds of shalom within our community. And this leads us, of course, to Purim. And every year I say the same thing, that, by Purim, there is such a beautiful mitzvah, Mishlach Manos. And the whole avodah of Shalach Manos is Mishlach Manos ish l're'ehu, is to create reos, to create friendship. And therefore, dear Chavra, you don't have to give Shalach Manos to your friends. You can if you want to, but your friends already know that you love them. But Shalach Manos is such a powerful vehicle to make those who live on the margins and on the periphery feel loved and feel remembered and feel accepted. Or maybe Shalach Manos to the person with whom you don't have the best relationship. There's a golden opportunity over the course of Purim, over Shalach Manos, to become an Aaron, to remember every single Yid, to do, and each of us has this power. We all have someone we could remember. We all have someone we could bring into the fold. We all have someone, whether it's someone who we know who's just having a difficult time in life and maybe is not in the center, but a little bit more on the margins, someone who's straggling behind. Or maybe it's someone who's just not part of community in general. Maybe it's someone who doesn't know as much about Yiddishkeit, whatever it might be. Find the person in your life who may be straggling, who may be peripheralized and marginalized, and become their Aaron and bring them in. 3 themes. All the same idea. V'ata hakre ve'lecha es Aaron achicha. HaKadosh Baruch Hu telling Moshe, Moshe, you're fantastic. But what I value more than being a Moshe is being an Aaron, is becoming the kind of person who includes others, who looks out for others, especially those who may be on the margins and the periphery. What I need you to remember on Parsha Zachar is not something that Amalek hates us. We know that and we know it well. But I need you to remember that we had stragglers and we can't leave any Jew behind. And we're doing some Mishlach Manos Ishtarei Ehu, a golden opportunity to take the stragglers and bring them in, to take those on the margins and peripheries and bring them in. Let's do our part. Yes, on one hand, to strive to be a Moshe and to become the best version of ourselves and to take the time for hisbodedus and introspection, but at the same time, unequivocally commit ourselves to being there for every Jew, to be an Aaron HaKohen, Ohev es HaShalom, Ohev Shalom, to love peace, to pursue peace, to love people, all people, and through that, mekarvan the Torah and build a stronger Klal Yisrael. Wishing everyone a good night of Shabbos and a beautiful Shabbos Kodesh.